Hello and welcome to this week's Ruby Shoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. First, we talk to the lead in a fascinating piece of theatre coming to the New Wolsey this week. Then we invite you to take a walk through an historic Suffolk town and enjoy a delicious curry at the end of it, all in aid of two great charities. Plus, we've been out to review the Billy Joel Songbook. And of course, we've got a rundown of some of the best bits of local theatre you won't want to miss this month. Coming to the New Wolsey Theatre on Tuesday the 30th of April and Wednesday the 1st of May is a play inspired by the first black police officer in the UK, Trevor. The play is called Community Service, and I caught up with Rhys Amos, who is taking the lead role. Rhys Amos is a multidisciplined artist from Birmingham. He's the former artistic associate of Birmingham Opera Company and current co-creative director of More Than a Moment in Community Service, which is coming to the New Wolsey Theatre. And Rhys plies his trade as theatre maker, director, composer, singer, songwriter, I kid you not, producer and musician. Rhys, welcome to the Ruby Shoes podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Great.
Wow. This is your first project, I think, with Stan's Cafe. In addition to being co-director, you're also taking on the lead role as Trevor. So acting, singing, and you're playing the guitar. You've really gone all in, haven't you, for this first particular performance? Tell us more about Trevor, first of all. Tell us more about the character.
Yeah. So the inspiration behind Trevor was a real life person whose name was Trevor Prince, unfortunately no longer with us. A member of his family approached us in regards to speaking about doing something to honor unsung heroes and believe that Trevor was an unsung hero for them in the family. And of course, as a theatre company, you listen and you try and take on and you try and find where the drama is in these. I mean, you respect the story 100%, but you try and find where the drama is and where these tensions live. And it wasn't until bits of information started coming from other people when we realised that Trevor himself was one of the first black policemen in the West Midlands during the Handsworth riots and during the miners' strikes and all these types of things. He also tried to pioneer a change in the sound of gospel music and the way it's received and perceived. A family man, a strong, stout family man, and had high standing within the community. So we started to see, actually, you know what? Rather than this being a monolithic story about a particular character, although it is, the actual story is about all these things that are happening in and around to and because of Trevor's influence and so on. And so we thought, you know what, there's something here that we can really grab hold of. And Trevor, as I said, unfortunately no longer with us, just to honor the memory of him and to also make people realize that there are Trevors in so many people's lives. Yeah. That we didn't just want to go and do a verbatim story about this Trevor. We wanted to do it inspired by anybody who knows what it's like to try and pioneer a change, make a new movement, stand up in the face of adversity, and really, really just stand for what is justice, peace, and love.
Oh, definitely. And it is pioneering theatre, and it's all based around the kind of this happening in the 70s and the 80s, which is kind of the era that I grew up in. And when you're a child, you're not really aware of this stuff. And it's only when you look back on it and read about it, you think, wow, this is, big stuff that happened then. Has Trevor's family seen the performance?
No, but I know through the grapevine, I've heard that there is going to be a turning up at one of the shows in Birmingham. I think for the home crowd, a few of them have said, you know what, yes. But of course, we've got to remember, Trevor's passing was only recent, wasn't too long ago, within the last 3 years, I believe. And so, it's a sensitive thing. And what we've tried to do with the piece is just hold it with some care and some dignity. And like I said, it's not about Trevor Prince himself. It's inspired by, but as a family member, you're going to take out some of those nuances and go, oh, that's dad or that's uncle or that, do you know what I mean? So actually, what we've done is we've just opened the door and said, guys, the availability for you guys are always welcome, come through. And those who feel like they're strong enough to do that or want to be part of it, they're in. Do you know what I mean? But with a lot of respect for those who feel as though it's a little bit too much for them and they're just happy to read up on how things are going.
Yeah, definitely. Now, it's called Community Service. It's coming to the New Wolsey Theatre on Tuesday the 30th and Wednesday the 1st of May at 7:30 p.m. It's, as you say, it's inspired by Trevor, but tell me about the plot, because there's a whole lot of things going on, isn't there? As well as a whole lot of music.
Oh, 1,000%. You know what? It's funny you asked that question. It's very hard to tell you what the plot is because it's a little bit of a sort of cacophony of plots that are circulating in and around. But the long and short of it is we follow our centralized character, Trevor, and we just literally see him dealing with what it was like to come from Caribbean background, growing up in a West Indian household, strict religious family. How his faith played a part in the way that he became a man and how he perceived the world in the midst of what was casual and infrastructural racism. Um, he he always found a humor, and some people would look at that and go, God, how can you let that happen? But it's not that he let it slide. He was able to use his faith to rise above some of this stuff. And actually, to be honest, it's a tag for how we should behave today, to be honest with you. But it's really, really nice to see it set in an era, as you said, for a lot of people who coming up would have been like, gosh, I wasn't privy to the fact that that would have been the case at the moment. But you're right, yeah, it's set against all the background music of the time. So you expect gospel, expect soul, expect reggae, and all of those kind of things. And what you do get, I mean, I won't give too much away, but what you do get is a balancing act. So you get this idea of as Trevor progresses through life and has his own family, you see that some of these things just become circular, sorry, and a lot of the stuff just repeats itself, and you go, "Ooh, now how are you going to deal with that when it's not directly impacting you, but it's impacting your daughter, your brother, your wife, etc." So yeah, there's lots of fun, and there's full of humor.
Wonderful. So lots of humour and real thought-provoking stuff. What do you hope that the audience are going to take away from this really emotive but uplifting piece of theatre?
Yeah, I think whenever I'm asked this question, I always think deeply about it. And, I want to be able to say, audiences are going to take away that, life was different and so on and so forth. But actually, the crux of what we really want audiences to receive is an awareness that there are people who are living this and that there is a way to use love and peace to supersede a lot, if not all of the issues we have in this world. Of course, we know that it takes two, but every one person can make their own difference. And I think for this piece, what I would really like them to do is realize that they may be the Trevor in their life, or they may know who the Trevor in their life is. And if it allows them to just sit down and think about that person or think about what they're doing with their life and just go, you know what? Yeah, I know things are hard, but we can get through it, then it's an absolute blessing. And we've kind of done part way of our job.
Reese, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with the tour. Can't wait to see you at the New Wolsey Theatre. We're really looking forward to reviewing that show. And thanks for talking to us today on the Ruby Shoes podcast.
Thank you for having me. God bless. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Now on the Ruby Shoes podcast, delighted to be joined by Councillor Lynn Mortimer, the Mayor of Ipswich. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to talk to you because you're going to be hosting a very special guided walk, which ends in one of my favourite foods, which is curry.
Yes.
This is all happening in Ipswich next weekend. Tell us more.
Well, it's hello, Stephanie. Hello, listeners. It's a sort of annual event, really, that the Mayor of Ipswich holds a guided walk around the town, followed by an Indian meal at one of the most popular restaurants in Ipswich, the Maharani on Norwich Road, which is run by a good friend of mine.
That sounds amazing. And this is all in aid of your charities, isn't it, this year?
That's right. Well, every mayor that comes along, of course, I'm nearly at the end of my term now. They'll be chucking me out on the 15th of May and installing a new mayor. But every mayor has their own charities that they raise funds for over the course of a year. And my two charities are Inspire Suffolk and Brave Futures. Both of these charities aim their services at children and young people, young adults. And I think sometimes that they're not the most popular charities sometimes because they deal with difficult subjects, and so I deliberately chose that because young people are our future, aren't they? Although I'm not sure that my future actually lies in trudging around Ipswich for a guided walk, mainly because last week I had a hip replacement operation. So if I was to set out on a guided walk, I probably wouldn't arrive until the following day.
Oh my goodness. I'm hoping that you're going to be meeting at the end for the curry and, just sort of glide in serenely while everybody else has done the guided.
I shall be probably. I should probably be waiting there for them, Stephanie. What I should probably do is be testing the food for them, to make sure everything's okay. Because obviously it's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it. Yeah. And of course, there will be a raffle. One of the things that denotes every mayor's year, I think, is the importance of a raffle. And every event I hold includes a raffle. And that actually raises quite a lot of money over a year for the various causes. I mean, I'll just run through, if that's okay with you, some of the things I've done this year.
Yes, please.
So I've had the Mayor's at Home, which I held at Ipswich Town Football Club. That hopefully soon to be a Premiership location. We had an evening on the sailing barge Victor. We had a civic service. We had a tie night. We had cheese and wine. We had Christmas at the mansion with mince pies and a tour. We had Burns night, lots of kilts. And we had, of course, my ball. So this is the last thing on my programme.
You realise this is why you've worn your hip out.
I have to say that the surgeon did come up to me the day after and say, well, it looks as if your other hip might need doing soon. I'm going to be fully bionic.
Oh my goodness me. And good for another 50 years at least, I'm sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, the hip will probably outlast the rest of me then.
It's a lovely idea. Just tell us a bit more about the walk. Where does it start and how do people get in touch and get their tickets so they can help you raise money for these two brilliant charities?
Should be able to find tickets online at Ipswich Events, book that way. I believe the walk now, you can't hold me to this because I don't think actually all the details of the walk have been firmed up yet, but I believe the walk is going to dovetail with Wolsey 550, so that the route will be taking in some of those locations.
Fantastic.
I mean, to be honest, there's so much to see in Ipswich, isn't there? I mean, this is an amazing town for history. So just about wherever you go in Ipswich, there'll be something to admire and look at.
There is. It's funny you should say that. We had some visitors over and we took them on a guided walk thinking, oh, they'll enjoy this. And we were fascinated. I've lived in Suffolk all my life and about 90% of what the guide told us, I had no idea about. And I thought, how do I not know this being a resident of Suffolk? So it is fascinating and I think it's going to be brilliant. It all starts at 5 o'clock, doesn't it? And this is...
It does, yes.
It's £30 per person. You can also have under 14s as long as they're bring along a responsible adult with them. And this is on Sunday, the 5th of May.
And I just should point out, there will be a raffle.
I think you mentioned that.
Let's stick that in somewhere.
I think that's brilliant. Is it too soon to say how much money you think you may have raised over your mayoral year?
It is too soon because I don't have access to the bank account. I don't know why, but no, I don't have access to that bank account. But I do know that the mayor's ball alone raised in excess of £12,000.
Wow!
So it's going to be a fair goodly amount. I think the cheques will be handed over at the mayor making ceremony, which is on the 15th of May.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, you've heard it here first on the Ruby Shoes podcast. Get yourself to the Mayor's Charity Town Walk and Curry Night, Sunday, the 5th of May. And tickets available, ipswichtheatres.co.uk. Councillor Lynn Mortimer and Mayor of Ipswich, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your year. I know it's coming to an end now, but you could just have literally have a rest at the end of it, I think. Well deserved.
Nice to see you, sweetheart.
You too.
Take care. Bye.
We've been out and about this week on the Ruby Shoes podcast. The Ipswich Corn Exchange played host to Elio Pace, who 10 years ago created the Billy Joel Songbook, a tribute show for one of the world's greatest composers and songwriters, Billy Joel. The night we attended, it was a full house and we were in for quite a shock. Goodness. So we've just come away from the Billy Joel Songbook. And what did you think?
Well, you took my words away after the first half. You said, wow, and I was going to say exactly the same thing. They kind of That was wow. One of the best bands I've ever seen. And he was, blimey, what a voice and a showman. And
Incredible
pianist as well.
Vocal talent, pianist talent. The whole band were absolutely amazing. And I've never, ever in all the time that I've been reviewing theatres and seeing shows and going to concerts, I've never seen a standing ovation after the first half.
No, that's right.
It was incredible.
It was.
And well deserved.
I was going to say, well, we were standing as long as everybody else.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It was just incredible just to see everybody felt the same. It was so good. And what a fantastic start to the weekend.
And what a lineup as well. You've got the saxophone player from Amy Winehouse, the bass player from Queen. I mean, what else did you need? I mean, there was
phenomenal band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And really good. And Elio Pace is just an amazing singer, as you say, but amazing musician, but actually a really good showman as well. He was very good at whipping the crowd up straight away. Within, I think, the third song, he had everybody singing along. The Corn Exchange was packed full of people, and I've never felt so much energy in the Corn Exchange before. In the past, it's been a little bit more kind of laid back, a bit more almost sedate, but certainly wasn't tonight. Everyone up on their feet. I know we're not supposed to, but there
wasn't anybody in the whole place sitting down.
No, there wasn't. He literally said, if you want to sit down, you can. If you want to stand up, you can. And everybody, the last 20 minutes, everybody was on their feet dancing. It was just fantastic, and it just brought back so many memories. You just don't realise how many hits Billy Joel has had. And he said, Elio said, soundtrack to your life, and certainly was for me, because it was back in the 70s and then through the 80s. Just lovely. Loved all of it. If you get the chance to see Elio Pace and his band and the Billy Joel Songbook, then I really can't recommend that show highly enough.
What's on across Suffolk with Stephanie McIntyre, sponsored by Ruby Shoes Podcast, your weekly entertainment news podcast, available from your smart speaker, Apple, Spotify, or you just follow Ruby Shoes Podcast on Facebook and click on the weekly podcast link to listen.
There's a host of great shows on offer across Suffolk's magnificent theatres, and here's just a selection to tempt you. Tuesday the 30th and Wednesday the 1st of May from 7:30pm at the New Wolsey Theatre, presented by Stan's Cafe, is Community Service. It's the 1980s, one of the Midlands' first black police officers and an acclaimed gospel guitarist faces conflict on the streets, at work and in church. To bring harmony to all this discord, he must find the spirit behind the letter of the law. Inspired by the life of community hero Trevor Prince, Community Service is an emotional and uplifting theatre show full of live music and wit. It's set against the backdrop of Thatcher's Britain, the Handsworth riots, miners' strikes and casual racism. Meanwhile, in the Pentecostal church, a schism is being questioned by children who are listening to secular music on the radio and rebelling against the strict rules of their immigrant parents. To book your tickets, go to wolseytheatre.co.uk. Wednesday the 1st of May, join the Hocus Pocus tour at the Apex Theatre in Bury St Edmunds. Focus return to European concert stages fresh from the studio, where they've been recording their eagerly awaited new album. With over 50 years of this spectacular show, Focus have achieved so much, including being a favourite of Bob Harris on the Old Grey Whistle Test. Focus have featured in the orchestra pit for Victor Spinetti's musical Hair, have acclaimed a knighthood, soundtracked on a 2010 Football World Cup commercial featuring Wayne Rooney, and featured on the iconic car chase sequence after the bank heist in the 2017 film Baby Driver, as well as Disney's 2020 film Trolls World Tour. It all starts from 7:30pm. Find your tickets via the apex.co.uk. Thursday the 2nd of May from 7:30pm, it's your chance to come together right now for the sensational The Magic of the Beatles, featuring an incredible cast that not only look and sound like John, Paul, George and Ringo, they also generate that same famed incredible excitement that was the trademark of the greatest group of the world has ever seen, with the Fab Four's unique sense of humour thrown in for good measure too. Enjoy She Loves You, A Hard Day's Night, Help, I Feel Fine, a Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Hey Jude, Here Comes the Sun, Get Back, and so many more non-stopping chart toppers. Click on marinatheatre.co.uk for more details. Also on Thursday the 2nd of May, instead of North Suffolk, you could head to the west for Griff Rhys-Jones' The Cat's Pyjamas. That's Thursday the 2nd of May at the Theatre Royal in Bury St Edmunds. Griff Rhys-Jones is back on the road with his much-anticipated brand new stand-up tour. Join Griff as he shares more funny observations and comic stories. No theme, as the show always varies, as Griff rambles on the developing national permacrisis, age, family, feud, nostalgia, the TikTok generation, crocodile smuggling, and noodling in Australia, travel, dogs, hotels, drinks, and midnight trains. He takes questions from the audience too, and lets rip as his associations wander. For more details, go to theatreroyal.org. And finally, Sunday the 5th of May at 7:30pm at the Ipswich Regent Theatre, Simon Reeve is an author and TV presenter and one of the world's most adventurous travellers. His unique brand of documentary filmmaking combines travel and adventure with current affairs, history, wildlife, culture and conservation. His journeys have taken him to more than 130 countries across jungles, deserts, mountains and oceans, and some of the most beautiful, dangerous and remote regions of the world. Join him at the Regent for this To the End of the Earth tour to hear stories, surprises, thrills, deeper thoughts and hearty laughs. He wants to nudge and gently encourage audiences to get out of their comfort zone, take a few gentler risks in life and embrace the great outdoors and the wider world. To find out more, go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk for more information. Do you have a forthcoming show or a special outdoor event maybe you'd like the Ruby Shoes podcast to come along and feature? Tell us more about it. Jump on our Facebook page at Ruby Shoes Podcast. Now, next week, we'll be talking about a brand new and rather brilliant website which is dedicated to Suffolk theatre, and we'll be talking with its creator, Martine Silkstone. Remember, you can always listen again to any of the Ruby Shoes podcasts via Apple or Spotify or your smart speaker, or just simply by clicking on the weekly podcast links on our Facebook page. And follow us too for all the latest entertainment news. I'm Steph McIntyre. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat more live theatre and all kinds of entertainment for Suffolk and Norfolk in next week's episode. In the meantime, check out those socials at Ruby Shoes Podcast. And we'd love you to follow us too. Have a great week.